Congregation of the Sisters of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, Bangkok. Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good, for His kindness endures forever. God's wisdom has been profound in the proclamation of the gospel in this missionary country of Siam. From the seed of faith that the French missionaries had planted in the hearts of the faithful, both Christians and those of the other religions, that small seed which they had planted, watered, cultivated, and cared, this has now grown into a big tree in the garden of the Church of Thailand. The Congregation of the Sisters of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, Bangkok, is a group of native religious women which was established in the 1900s upon the inspiration of a MEP priest, the Reverend Father Aloysius Alphonsus D. Hont, or who was popularly known Father D. Hont. He was a Belgian priest, truly filled with piety, love, enthusiasm in offering oneself for the church in this missionary country of Siam. He was appointed parish priest of St. Francis Xavier Parish, Samsen in 1871, barely 3 years since his arrival in Thailand. While administrating this parish, he noticed that there were many families who were ready to offer their daughters to God. His appointment as the vicar to the Bishop of the Diocese of Siam made him realize the lack of collaborators working with the missionaries in the propagation of the faith in many churches. At the church in Samsen, there was a small convent which was constructed in 1834, but then was abandoned. This was renovated in 1846 during the tenure of Bishop Palagua Malo. When Father D. Hont was appointed parish priest of this church, he took care of improving this convent in 1897. He also gathered the 12 young applicants for formation. 6 of these came from the convent of the Lovers of the Cross, and another 6 were new ones. He opened a novitiate and became also the formator. He wanted to dedicate this work in honor of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, to whom he had special love and piety. In 1894, the Diocese of Siam requested the Sisters of St. Paul the Church to manage St. Louis Hospital. Father D. Hont was so pleased with the work of these sisters. Therefore, he did not lose time to ask the congregation of St. Paul the Church to send sisters to form the Pious Women of Samsen Convent. This proposal received the approval of Bishop Louis Vey, the Bishop of the Diocese of Siam. In 1900, the Congregation of St. Paul the Church sent 2 sisters from Saigon to stay at Samsen Convent. The 2 sisters were Sister Harriet and Sister Justine. Later in 1902, Sister Seraphine de Marie, who used to be assigned at St. Louis since the beginning of its erection, was transferred to take place of Sister Justine, who had helped Sister Harriet for 15 months. The congregation transferred Sister Justine back to Saigon, and appointed Sister Seraphine de Marie Lattenbacher as the directress in 1903. Mother Seraphine de Marie Lattenbacher was a native of Alsace. She was gifted in language and good at coordinating with others. She also possessed a strong faith and undying fortitude. She was strict yet sacrificing in leading the members to understand the life of true consecration to the Lord. The time of the erection of the convent was full of hardships and lack of resources. Mother Seraphine de Marie and the first members had to work hard for their livelihood, making use of their individual talents. Some sewed clothes, planted vegetables, took care of pigs, made preserved salted fish, cooked crispy golden rolls, peanuts filled toffees, etc. Besides, they were also responsible for taking care of the parish church of St. Francis Xavier Samsen, which included the services to the clergy, the animation of the liturgical services, and catechism. As the Father has sent me, so I send you. When the formation and the preparation had gone on for some length, finally, the congregation was able to send their members out to evangelize for the first time in 1909. They were teachers to the small girls studying at St. Teresa's School, which later on became the St. Joan of Arc School. In the following year, they also went out to help the other churches, among them at Song Pinong Church, Lamsai Church, Ko Yai Church, and Banpeng Church. The convent sent the members in pairs of two, one to be in charge of the house and the orphans, and the other as one in charge of the school. On this rock I will build my church to bear fruits that will last forever. Due to the divine providence and the steadfast love of God for the congregation, Bishop Rini Peros foresaw the immense of good for the church if the congregation was not limited to Samsen Church, but become a diocesan congregation. Thus, in 1924, Bishop Rini Peros, the Bishop of the Diocese of Siam, elevated the status of the congregation from a Samsen Church-based society to a diocesan-based congregation. He also appointed Mother Seraphine de Marie as the superior directress of the congregation. Finally, the congregation reached the Promised Land. In 1932, the congregation transferred the mother house to Klung Tuy district as recommended by the supervising bishop from the Holy See. The convent in Samsen was eventually sold to the St. Paul de Chartres Sisters, which at present has become St. Francis Xavier Convent School. Mother Seraphine de Marie stayed with the members of the Sacred Heart Convent, Klong Tuy, until her death on 5th August 1952. Her body was laid to rest in the cemetery of the convent according to her wish. After assisting in the work of evangelization in the Diocese of Bangkok, taking part in the proclamation of the Gospel, and alleviating the burdens of the priest for a total of about 50 years, the congregation finally received the official approval of the church on 25th August 1957 from the church by Bishop Louis Chorin and received the official name of the Congregation of the Sisters of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, Bangkok. The Congregation of the Sisters of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, Bangkok, is a religious institute under the jurisdiction of the Archdiocese of Bangkok. The sisters make the vows of chastity, poverty, and obedience according to the Evangelical Council. The special charism of the congregation is to serve the people of God by becoming collaborators of the priest in the work of evangelization and in the other works of the parish, in the spirit of the Sacred Heart which has been handed down through time from Father Dihont. Even if times have changed, yet the Congregation of the Sisters of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, Bangkok, is still doing the mission according to their original charism. They still work in various places to answer the needs of the Church. The sisters still live and serve with the spirit of the Sacred Heart, even if they are only doing household work, like being responsible for the food at the church or in the school, looking after the orderliness of the church, catechetical work in or out of the school, summer catechetical camps, activities for the Catholic like training the liturgical leaders, song leaders, prayer leaders, works like school administration, teaching, music, or sports. Aside from this, the sisters also take care of the welfare of the poor, the aged, the abandoned. They visit the people, the sick, they comfort them and encourage them. Always aware that they were like their own brethren, it can be seen that the members serve the Church in their various capacities. From then until today, the day that the congregation enters into its second centenary of foundation, from the small house in Samsen, the congregation has answered to the needs of the Church in Thailand in 4 dioceses, which are the Diocese of Bangkok, the Diocese of Chiang Mai, the Diocese of Nakhon Sawan, and the Diocese of Ratchaburi. Aside from cooperating with the works of the local church, the congregation also maintain its work in education at their own 5 schools, which are Sacred Heart Convent School, Sacred Heart School Sawan Kalok, Sacred Heart School Don Muang, Sacred Heart School Patanawet, Sacred Heart School Nontaburi. For welfare work for the orphans and poor children, the congregation has opened 4 places: the Sacred Heart House Don Muang, Sacred Heart House Patanawet, Sacred Heart House Sawan Kalok, and Sacred Heart Garden House Lampang. They coordinate with the government agencies concerned for the development and betterment of marginalized youth due to drug addiction at Konpum Home Shelter, Nakhon Chai Si. Moreover, the congregation takes responsibility of social welfare works of the Diocese of Bangkok at the Merciful Heart House, Cha Ching Sao. The sisters help the people in the squatter area of Nong Kem district, and they do pastoral work for the tribal groups in the Diocese of Chiang Mai at the Nazareth House, Chiang Mai, and at Arunutay House, Lampang. The congregation will continue to support the other needs of the Church according to its capabilities. The life of the congregation can be compared to the life of a man who passes through hardships and difficulties. There are successes and failures. The congregation offers thanksgiving to God for all the times that have been, for the love and mercy that the Lord has poured down. Just as the harvest is plentiful, so the need of the workers is also much. In the work of evangelization, to serve the people of God as collaborators to the priest, which was the dream of the late Father D. Hont, there is still the need for the people who are ready to sacrifice, people who offer themselves wholeheartedly so that the kingdom of God is preached everywhere, and so that the name of the Lord will be known, who will continue the work of the Lord, so that Christ may have life and can accomplish his salvific mission. Follow me, I will make you fishers of men. Learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart.